Well, good evening, everybody. I am so excited to have an opportunity to get in front of you today as part of the Finance Committee ministry to talk about budgeting. And before I get into that, I want to talk a little bit about my background. I am a unit manager at Bank of America and a vice president in a department where we solicit products. I've had background in collections, background in credit, finance, background in kind of investigative suspicious activity work, and managing at different capacities. I'm responsible for about 150 people currently, and about 18 managers. So finance and budgeting to me was very important at a young age because I realized that my father wasn't going to give me any money. I would ask for things and I wouldn't get them. My father was very conservative with how he spent his money. And it taught me early on that whatever I want to achieve in life, I have to work for it, plan, prepare, execute, and demonstrate discipline. So that's kind of what we're going to talk about today is how do you prepare something, how do you plan for it, how do you execute, and then demonstrate discipline to achieve what you want from a financial standpoint. All right? Also want to introduce Stacia Brooks, who is the CFO of Span Ministries and the chair of the finance ministry. So welcome. All right, so if we go to the next slide, what do we want to achieve today? So the workshop objective is 1, define what budgeting is. 2, discuss financial goals, because that's what's going to ultimately keep you disciplined to stay on budget. Review the budgeting process. What does it take to create your budget? Budget busting activity. It's going to be interesting. Discuss the assignment that you're going to have. There was some pre-work before this workshop, and there's some work after the workshop as well. And then tips to ensure that you're adhering to your budget. All right. Before we begin, any questions? All right. So when you think about the word budget, what comes to your mind? Any idea, any notions, any thoughts about planning? Okay. Planning with money?
With money. Making sure you have enough to do what you have to do.
When I thought about budget initially, it was I'm on a shoestring budget. So meaning that a budget is for not spending any money. Don't spend any money because I'm on a budget. That's I used to always hear that. Like, oh no, yeah, I'm on a budget. Ma, can I get this? No, I'm on a budget. We're on a shoestring budget. We can't afford anything. Well, budget is not really for that purpose. It's just to classify where you're spending your money for a future expectation. So if we look at the next slide where it defines budgeting, budget is an estimate, often itemized, of expected income and expense for a given period in the future. So it's an estimate. It's not exact because things come up, but just what you expect to spend itemized over a given period of time based on expected income. So a personal budget is a financial plan that allocates future income towards expenses, savings, and debt repayment. Let me give you an example. When my wife gave birth to my son, we were both working. She did not work for 3 months. So before that, I kind of had the foresight to say, all right, we're going to go with 3 months of not having any money from that source. So what do I do now to ensure that I have the money to pay for all the expenses that we incur over a 3-month time frame? So as soon as I found out that my wife was pregnant, I began to think about everything that goes in and out of the house, and some things that maybe we shouldn't be allocating money to, and how I'm going to kind of control my spending patterns right now to put some money away so that by the time the baby comes, I have all the resources to ensure that we don't go broke as a result of Justin being born. So when you think about something that you know is coming up in the future, in the very immediate future, what behaviors do you have right now that are going to put you in a position to be safe and have the funds to deal with that situation when it presents itself? So we go to the next slide. Why is budgeting important? It helps you organize your finances. The one thing I can tell you that was very difficult when I got married is I have a certain view of money, and my wife has a certain view of money. I like to save it. She liked to spend it. So we had to come to some type of common ground. So organizing your finances is very important to create some type of solvency within your relationship, because it's the number one reason why people have problems, ultimately, is not being aware of how money is going in and going out, and then trust being lifted because of not planning for expenses. Accounting for every single dollar that's spent creates harmony in the household. Plan for financial emergencies. So if your car broke down right now, what would you do to get it taken care of? Would you have the funds? Would you have the resources to take care of it? What's the worst thing that can happen? And are you able to handle it? Pretty much without using credit. If you have to use credit, we can talk about that in another session, but can you handle calamity? Because that's the main thing that gets people off track when it comes to their finances, is that they can't deal with situations that happen. And they're going to happen. You're going to get a flat tire. My washing machine broke last week. I had to go buy another washing machine. My dishwasher broke 6 months ago. Had to get another dishwasher. Plan for special occasions. Marriage. Birth of a child. Vacations. Prepare for retirement or changes in income. In my environment right now, and in the economy, it's a very unsettling time where individuals could potentially be laid off and not have opportunities. So at times people take pay cuts to secure another job. So how do you spend your money in case something happens? Preparing for the worst at times. And that's what a budget is meant to do. Prevents impulse spending. This is where a lot of people get in trouble as well. I just had to have that shirt. These shoes just came out. They're $100 shoes. I got to buy these shoes. This computer, this software, this camera, this car. It just escalates from there. Learn how to live on less than available income. And then ultimately what it does is it puts you in control. There's a common philosophy, there's a common economic principle that says people spend what they make. Would you agree? People spend what they make. So, for example, if someone makes $100,000 a year, what would you expect them to have?
Car. Oh, nice house, nice car.
Okay. What else?
And pretty much anything else they wanted, to be honest.
So
when I think about $100,000.
They wouldn't be
Is that gross or net?
gross. It's gross. It'd be gross.
No debt, I guess. I would expect them to have no debt.
Potentially no debt, or at least,
Potentially.
You have a nice car. You expect them to have nice clothes. You expect them to live in a nice house. Certainly people wouldn't be living in a smaller house, and they make a certain income level. Typically people spend what they make. And that's what gets people in trouble, is that they overspend in terms of what they make or what they anticipate to make. Some people work on commission, and they anticipate the commission coming in, so they spend in advance, and then that commission may not come. All right, so let's move on to the next slide. This is the reason why budgeting is so important. This is the motivation to ensure that you stay on your budget. So what I want you to do is take about 10 minutes. Think about 3 goals. 1 short-term, 1 intermediate, 1 long-term. Think about short-term goal, 1 to 4 weeks. Intermediate goal, 2 to 12 months. Long-term goal, 1 year or longer. Now the short-term goal can be, I want to take you out to dinner. I want to take my significant other out to dinner, and I want to spend this much at this restaurant. The intermediate goal could be, I want to go on a nice weekend vacation somewhere. Long-term goal is, I ultimately want to buy a house or buy a car or invest in something. So spend about 10 minutes to think about that. And if you go to the next slide as well, what resources do you need to achieve those goals? So when you think about what is my long-term, intermediate, and short-term goal, and then what resources do I need to accomplish that? It could be education, it could be training, it could be time, it could be a certain amount of money. It could be anything that you need around you to help achieve that goal. So think about that for the next 10 minutes. We'll start with you, Dan.
All right. So for my short-term goal, I put down.
Grab the mic.
Oh, okay, grab the mic.
My bad. For my short-term goal, I put down save up for movies.
So to take somebody out to movies?
Yeah.
Take your wife out to movies?
Yeah.
How often? Just once or?
Once, because I'm coming on vacation in August, so I want to take a day and go see some movies that I didn't get to see all summer.
So movies?
Yeah,
So
so it's like a day of movies for me
All
and my wife, because we'll both be on vacation at the same time.
How much do you think that would cost?
I'm thinking probably about $10 per movie. So at least maybe 4 movies.
You go to the matinee?
Yeah, matinee.
All right.
Kent Campus matinee, too. Kent
All right.
matinee, the Plaza. So I'm thinking probably about $10, so maybe $80 total.
$80
for
total.
both of us.
Popcorn? No popcorn?
Oh. Okay, so now we up to $100, because, gotta be at least one thing of popcorn and some drink. So yeah, probably $100 just to do that.
Okay, so what do you need to accomplish that?
Need to set some money aside now.
Okay.
That is specifically earmarked for that.
So is there money to set aside for that?
Yes, I just gotta move some things around. So
Okay, all right, good.
Cutting back on some
all right,
stuff.
we go.
Cutting back on some things.
Touch on that. Okay, how about an intermediate?
Intermediate one is to pay off my lowest credit card.
Okay. Is that the highest rate credit card?
No, I think they're both kind of like around the same rate.
All right.
I got 2, and they're both about the same rate.
And that's over the next 12 months.
Yeah.
And that could be done.
That's
in 12
definitely
months. Okay.
that's definitely doable.
Okay.
Yeah. And then for a long-term goal, I put new house or car. Probably in the next sometime in 2014 is when I'll be looking to do that.
All right.
What
What do you need to accomplish that?
More money.
More money.
To-
Okay. So how's that going to happen?
Well, increasing my income is be one way, and then cutting back on expenses and debt in other ways. So getting rid of smaller debts and smaller expenses to make more room for that. And then just time and discipline, to save up.
You see how that one thing kind of morphs into all these other different behaviors that you got to have.
Yeah.
That's why these goals should be written down.
Right.
Written down, because once you write it down and you post it somewhere, you got to commit to it. There's a saying that I have in my job all the time when people ask me, well, who succeeds and who doesn't succeed? Well, the short answer is people that listen and people that don't listen. If you listen to people that have some influence, people that have been there before, people that have your best interest at heart, the chances of you having success are very good. If you don't listen and you think you got it all figured out on your own, chances are that much less that you're going to be successful. And then people that succeed do things that others aren't willing to do. Typically winners, people that win, people that perform, people that succeed, people that are better than the rest, do things or demonstrate behaviors that your average person doesn't. So when you think about these goals, how bad do you want it? How bad do you want it? If you want it bad enough, you'll do what's necessary to get it. Most people want better for their kids. So they're going to do what's ever necessary to make sure their kids are in a better position than they were. And they'll do anything to make that happen. So when you think about your goals, is it a nice to have or is it a necessity? I really want this. And you'll do everything possible to make that happen. All right, want to share?
All right. Am I on? Can you hear me? All right. We have, it seems like most of our goals right now, starting off in marriage, are more about saving.
Yeah.
Saving stuff. Short term, I know, at least for myself, I ate out a lot. Going from work straight over somewhere else, stop, get something to eat, whatever. So our short-term goal is to limit how much we go out. Try not more than one time.
Let me give you an example of that real quick.
Mm-hmm.
You go to the gas station and you purchase a bottle of Pepsi. How much is that bottle of Pepsi?
That's going to be at least $2.50.
$2.50.
No.
$1.50. That's probably more in line with the 16 ounce. $1.50.
$1.50? Depends on where you go.
Now, you spend $1.50 on 16 ounces when you can get a whole half gallon for $1.
Exactly.
But you don't think about that. And do you imagine if you did that every day for an entire year, how much that would cost? In terms of, on the other hand, buying a liter for $1 and using that. Or when you think about going to McDonald's and getting a value meal, how much are the value meals now?
$6, $7.
$6, $7. You might as well go out to eat. You're gonna spend that kind of money on a value meal. But when you think about that same stuff that you're buying there, hamburger meat, half pound of hamburger meat, how much is that? A pound is. And how many hamburgers can you make out of that? Yeah, it's not the same experience. But is that experience, that short-term experience, worth long-term benefit? I want to jeopardize my long-term gain for this short-term experience that's going to fade away very quickly. Just like that donut that you bought over here. Just like that $1 candy bar that you bought over here. Because it's right by the counter as you're checking out. But when you think about those expenses and how they build and add up, imagine how much money you can have if you cut those things out. But that's part of the discipline. So you talked about eliminating a lot of fast food. And when you do fast food, it's the dollar menu.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Okay.
All right. Intermediate goal, more savings, which I think leads to the long-term goal. But our intermediate is to save monthly. Long-term goals is to school loans. You know, so gotta
Pay off student loans.
Pay off these student loans. Also be able to provide for family, for planning for a future family, and also owning a house
Okay.
instead of renting.
So the short term, the intermediate involved saving money.
Yes.
Saving money for what purpose? Was there something that, see, saving money, you want to save money and have money for a reason, right? So what reason is it short term that saving money is going to do for you? What intermediate goal is saving money going to do for you? And your long term was to get a house, pay off student loans. So is there something in the short term, in the intermediate goal, that you can pay off within a year by saving money?
Can we have another 10 minutes?
Sure. I can move on. But when you think about goals, specific, measurable, actionable, and time specific. So you want to think about, when you create goals, you want to have it specific, measurable, actionable, and time specific. All right. Elder. Any?
Thank you. Short term, start of 529, college savings for my third child. Revise my budget and handle a little bit of medical debt that shouldn't be on my record. So,
What resources do you need to achieve that?
no resources that I don't have, so I was I have the money in the bank to start the 529. Budget is just, and then the medical debt thing is just calling and once again for about the 7th, 8th time and talking to people. So for the short term, I don't need any resources that I don't have.
Okay. All right. So I had a.
I still have the.
Oh, yeah.
You want me to do my?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, my intermediate and long term.
Yep.
Intermediate is pay an additional $100 a month on student loan, which will involve my wife getting a part-time job.
Yeah.
Long term, 1 year. After 1 year, I want to have the student loan debt cut in half. After 3 years, debt-free except my house. And then after 5 years, I want to sell the current house and buy another house, which will take, I'm guessing, 15 to 20 liquid after the house is sold.
Good. So the resources that you're going to need is to have some skills of persuasion to get to work a part-time job, to have some communication skills to get your wife to work a part-time job. To do that, is that a resource or no?
No, I mean, it's just her getting out there and finding it or grinding. So.
Okay. All right. Any other resources that you may need or anything else out there?
Other thing, I mean, if my wife were to go back to teaching, she would have to go back to school, and that costs money. So, might have to do another option.
Right.
So,
of all these goals that were mentioned, how bad do you want them? Really bad. Really bad. So, it's enough to write down clearly a specific, measurable, actionable, and time-specific goal for each of those. All right? All right. So let's talk about the budgeting process. If we move on to the next slide and the next one after that. A budget is based on your income. So the income really comes first before you even talk about where the money's going. So you got to really evaluate what income is coming in on a monthly basis. And then are there some times throughout the year where there's a surplus of money that comes in that is not a normal stream of income? like taxes, when you get your income tax check back. For those that get income tax that come back, you know, some people play the lottery, so maybe they get some lottery money that came in. Maybe they get some gifts, some gift money that comes in. Typically what happens is when individuals get a surplus of money that they didn't expect, they don't treat that the same as their regular income. It's called playing with house money. You ever heard that term? Playing with house money? When you get a surplus of money, I got $100 here. I just saw $100 on the floor. I'm going to go spend that differently than I would spend the rest of my money. Here's your birthday gift. Here's $200. Most people take it and go somewhere, go out with it, go buy some clothes, instead of staying within their financial goals. So when you think about your sources of income, is it job? Is it parents? Alimony, child support, business revenue, investments, etc. So start thinking about not just your income now, just not the income that you make from a job, but is there any other sources of income that comes in throughout the year that you can use to help meet those financial goals? Like when I first started working at the bank, I was in collections and I got paid a salary, and then I also got paid an incentive. Now the incentive wasn't guaranteed. It was based on good performance and hitting the goal. Like I had to collect a certain amount of money. If I collected a certain amount of money, I got paid for that certain amount. But I based everything on my income, my guaranteed income. When the bonus came in, the incentive came in, all I did with that money was either save it or pay off debt. Save it or pay off debt. I paid off my car within like 4 years, because every time I got an incentive check, put that right on the car. Every time. Because what you're going to find out here is when we do this budget, your goal is to eliminate reoccurring expenses as much as you possibly can. That's going to allow you to save and do some of the things that you're looking to do. Moving on. Next slide. How do you spend your money right now? So once you evaluated how much comes into your house, on a monthly basis, what goes out of the house in terms of your bills? Fixed regular monthly expenses. What does that mean? So you said your rent, light bill, what else? Cable bill, phone bill, car, anything that doesn't change. Sometimes the gas will fluctuate unless you're on that budget. Sometimes you're, and I would tell you go on a budget, because when you get to the winter, $300 bills. So go on the budget, so that way you space it out over the 12 months. But fixed regular monthly expenses don't change. It's the same every month. You know what your rent payment is. You know what your car payment is. Those are things that you can plan for every month to come out. What are fixed irregular monthly expenses?
I said gas at the gas station. It's fixed because you know you're going to buy gas every month, but it's irregular because you never know. Like, it probably fluctuates from month to month how much you actually spend, but you know it's something that you're going to definitely buy.
Would that be variable?
Variable?
Could be.
It could be variable, yeah.
Could be, yeah, it could be both.
Yeah. I guess what's regular versus irregular versus variable?
You think? Okay. Yeah.
Could fixed irregular monthly expenses be something like you just purchase something, like say you got a dishwasher, so you purchase a dishwasher, so you know for a certain amount of time you're gonna have this monthly bill. So it's not something that's like all the time constant, like rent, car, or gas, but it's something that you just purchased that you're gonna have to pay off for maybe the next 4 months or so.
Well, it's something that you know is coming every month, but it varies based on sometimes usage. Like,
Okay. I
like
got you.
gas,
I got you.
electricity, water. Sometimes you got a leak in your toilet. Guess what happens to your water bill? Way up there. Or kids forgot to turn the lights off. Air conditioning. Those type of things. You know your car payment's not gonna change, right? You expect that. Somebody ran up your cell phone. That's a variable. I mean, that's a irregular monthly. You know it's coming every month, but boy, somebody got happy with the texting, and I don't have a texting plan that's unlimited. Well, I got on the internet a little too long. I forgot to turn my phone off, and it was just on the internet, and I got a $300 phone bill. Variable monthly expenses. That's where you get into your gas and your groceries that fluctuate from time to time. You know you got to spend it every month, but it fluctuates. They don't have to. Depends on how people eat. And you set that, and that's what the budgeting process is for. Is kind of turn it into something predictable. What you're trying to do with a budget is turn your expenses into predictable amounts the best you possibly can. But for right now, if you don't know what you're spending on groceries, is variable. Don't go into a grocery store hungry because you're going to buy things that you wouldn't normally buy. So eat before you go in there, because the packaging is presented to kind of entice your subconscious to go after those items. All right. Discretionary spending. What's that?
Miscellaneous things that you don't account for that just come up. Random situations sometimes. It could be anything from, I don't know, a first aid kit, or McDonald's, yeah, or going to the movies, or,
kind of impulse type spending.
Buying a
in a
new
way.
shirt, something like that.
You know what's the biggest influence on discretionary spending? And it's just my opinion, but.
Biggest influence on
Mm-hmm. Huh? You what? Commercials? No.
Having your debit card right there in your pocket? No?
No.
Super Walmart.
That's part of it, yeah. Yeah. Super Walmart? Okay. Typically it's somebody else.
Oh, yeah.
Your friends.
Your friends, yeah.
Your family.
Right.
A crowd, a group. Hey, we want to go over here. Let's go. And then you end up spending more money than what you anticipated spending because you're with the group. You don't want to be outside of the group. I can't tell you how many times where I really didn't plan on spending this money, but boy, everybody's doing it. I don't want to be the one that said, I'm gonna go home.
Right.
Yeah, it could be your spouse. I can tell you, my spouse is the reason why I spend a lot of money. A lot of money.
The reason why we spend a lot of money.
She likes to go out to eat. I'm not one, and hopefully she won't get this on YouTube, but she likes to go out to eat. I look at going out to eat, and I add on what the tip is, too. I'm like, I can cook that at home and make it just as good and spend half as much. You want lobster? I'll go to Sam's Club and buy 2 lobsters for $20 instead of 2 lobsters for $200. So it's that peer pressure. It's that relationship pressure that can cause you to spend discretionary money. Sometimes at work, where people want to go out to eat, and you want to go out with them. Or you go out somewhere at a baseball game, and you don't plan on spending that money on the hot dogs, but, Daddy, I want a hot dog. Daddy, I want cotton candy. Daddy, I want this. Daddy, I want that. We're not going to the game next time. Last game. Or you fill them up before you get there, and then you bring them in, and then you're good. So, all right. Moving on. Evaluating your monthly spending. So the first assignment was pretty much the pre-work, is to track your spending over a period of time, whether it was 2 weeks, whether it was a month. So when you take a few moments and think about what it is you tracked. What patterns did you identify in your spending habits? Are they fixed? Are they a lot of discretionary in there? Are there some impulse purchases that impacted what the bottom line is at the end of the month? Were you in the red where there's a deficit? Or are you in the black where there's some surplus? How did you decide what to purchase? What factors influence you when you purchase those items? How many impulse purchases did you make? So take a few moments, evaluate it, and then we'll regroup in about 5 minutes and kind of talk about it. All right, just need one volunteer who wants to talk about their assessment of their spending. All right, yeah. So first question, what patterns did you identify when you evaluated your spending habits?
All right. Again, my spending habits for pretty much the entire summer have been different than what I would normally do because I was planning for a wedding, and I also wasn't working at the same place that I was from December through April, and I went more to a minimum wage job. So my patterns were really not spending money until I felt like I needed to. Now the biggest one for where I think I could have saved, where I know I could have saved, was dining out. So it was more, instead of let's go home, cook something or even make a sandwich and get some vegetables or something. It was well, Subway's up the road. Go get some Subway. Five Guys sounds good today. Go to Five Guys. Stuff like that. Yeah, so I have a lot of zeros. Entertainment.
Okay.
I think when I look at the spending pie chart, it's at 1%, which is not my usual. Yeah, if I'm being honest, not my usual.
So what was that?
spending amount.
What was that? It was 1%.
My entertainment.
Entertainment.
expense.
Okay.
Yeah, which is usually a lot higher. And like that entertainment, I went to go see a movie. I think that's it. I went to go see a movie, and
Okay.
yeah, usually I'm going to see every movie and buying DVDs and whatnot. So yeah, and I don't yet have any housing or utilities or any of that yet. That starts Saturday.
So when I think about some of these questions that are up there, and I begin to evaluate some of what the things that you said, it seems like you spend your money based on convenience.
Yes.
Would that be the okay? So
yes.
you value convenience. So then, how do you create an environment where it's convenient to pack lunch in a way? Or what is it that you like from those places, and how can you best substitute for it at home and have it readily available? Now, is there a certain time, I don't know if you got this deep into it, but is there a certain time when you spend those type of purchases?
No, not that I realized. Oh yeah, work.
At work.
At work. I'll try to get my sleep, so I'll wake up later. Wake up later, just run out the house instead of, waking up that 10 minutes earlier I need to pack a lunch. Something like that. And I work right around the corner of the house, so that's no excuse too, because I can just drive home for my 45-minute break and do something, which I did a couple times, but then, the influence of people, coworkers like, oh, we're doing Chipotle today. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead and order me this steak burrito real quick. So yeah.
So how do you make that convenient? And it's a routine that you're gonna have to put in place. It's hard to start a routine by doing it every now and then. You really got to have that discipline. That's why I talk about discipline. Like, you have to have the mindset that goes back to that financial goal of, all right, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do it every time at this time. So if I struggle getting up early in the morning and packing lunch, 'cause I just want to get up, take a shower, get dressed, and run out. typically it takes people a long time to fall asleep. They take a half an hour for somebody to fall asleep. That's a half an hour that you can be getting that meal together.
Yeah.
I don't know. Most people don't iron their clothes before they get up and go to work in the
I
morning. So people just iron real quick and don't have a lot of time, and then they get out and leave. So it's, what is your nighttime routine? Because you can get a lot of stuff done right before you go to bed. What time do you go to bed?
Usually around 1 o'clock in the
1
morning.
o'clock at night. So that time between midnight and 1. Now, is that very productive time? Is that productive time? You get a lot done during that time frame? No, but what you can do is take at least a half an hour at that time, pack a lunch, have it ready, so it's grab and go.
I was going to
Grab
say
it.
it's going to be a little bit different, I think, when we get married, because I am very consistent with packing lunches, and I'm very organized, so my lunches are packed the night before, my clothes are picked out the night before, so I can make the most of my time. But
Yep.
yeah, I think it'll be helpful that, you know, I can help him out a little bit. So,
Yep. The first instant is an action. The second time, it's a trend. As you begin to go more, it becomes a behavior. Then after that, it becomes a habit. There's always a critical mass before something catches on and continues consistently. There's probably some things that you really do consistently right now. It didn't start out that way. It's just as you begin to continue to do those behaviors, they become a habit. I remember giving an example. For a long time, I used to bite my nails. Bite my nails every day, and all the way down real low, and it was pretty nasty. But I said, you know what, one day I just said, you know what, I'm not going to stop biting my nails because this is ridiculous. I'm tired of my fingers hurting. So I just started chewing gum. I just created a routine of chewing gum to keep something in my mouth so I just wouldn't bite my nails. And I kept doing it every day, just putting gum in my mouth. Sugar-free gum, so I don't mess up my teeth, but sugar-free gum. Or something in my mouth like a mint or a toothpick so that I would stop biting my nails. And over the last 5 years, don't really bite my nails anymore. So it takes something that you can introduce that forces you to do something different, and as you, over time, it just becomes a habit. That's what a budget is. Something that you do initially that's kind of uncomfortable a little bit, but as you continue to do it, it becomes a habit. All right?
You know what, I'm going to piggyback off of that too, because I thought about some stuff as you were talking. When you asked me, is there a certain time I notice when I spend? Thinking back from when I did have that job, you know, because like, as an actor, I work on contracts. So I had a contract for January 1st through April 20th. So from January 1st through April 20th, you know, I knew I had to get up. You know, I didn't know what time I had to. I knew I had to get up early, but like, you know, I had a different schedule every day. But that's when I was going to bed at like 10 o'clock at night. I was waking up earlier automatically, and I would have enough time to pack my lunch and everything. And I was just telling her when we were talking about my expenses, how like during that time, like my bank account was rising. Still paying school loans, still paying gas in the car, but my bank account was rising. And then in the summer, when I don't have that schedule, I mean, I have a schedule, I have to wake up at the same time, but I feel like it's not that necessity anymore, I guess, and therefore it's just, you know, more of a fun, laid-back job. So I was like, yeah, let's go out, spend some money.
So give me a percentage of what you think is a necessary expense. This is necessary versus unnecessary based on what you've tracked.
Based on what did I do that was unnecessary, and what percent
If you had
was
to just
necessary?
say, all right, 75% of what I spend is necessary, absolutely necessary. The other 25%, not so necessary.
Yeah, school loans is the majority. So with that plus transportation, I think that's my 75% that I, if we're doing 75%, I think that's about the 75% that I have to spend my money on, with food being in there a little bit. But that other 25 is what I can work on, I guess. Definitely
Okay.
eating out less.
Give
Yeah,
you
stuff like
a quick tip or something that when I made credit decisions, what we looked at in terms of a stable household, in terms of total household expenses versus the income that comes in, and whether we felt somebody was stable or not. Because credit is based on ability, stability, and willingness to pay. Ability, how much income do you make? What's your ability to pay this loan back? Stability, how stable is your income? If you're a real estate agent, which my wife is, how stable is that income in this environment? Not very stable. You can't count on it every month. And then ability to pay, now what does your credit profile look like? But in order for us to feel comfortable lending somebody money, they needed to have disposable income after you pay everything of at least $800 to $1,200 a month. $800 to $1,200 a month. So that's combined joint income. So when you think about your budget as we go through this, think, can you get in that range of disposable income that is surplus, where you can save it, invest it, or have it meet your financial goals? All right, moving on to the next slide. Setting up your budget. So you just evaluated all your spending. You evaluated what's necessary and what's unnecessary, or what's discretionary, or what's impulse purchases that you can think about eliminating, or think about spending it in a way that doesn't compromise all your disposable income. You tie it back to your financial goals. What am I looking to achieve here? What am I looking to accomplish by creating this budget? What do I need to meet those goals from a financial perspective? How much money do I need to save to get there? Set spending thresholds for each spending type. So when you think about your fixed goal, your fixed expenses, are they necessary? We had a conversation about this before. Is cable absolutely necessary if it's hurting your financial solvency? Is the car that you currently have absolutely necessary if it's hurting your financial solvency? Is that cell phone critical to having if it's going to compromise your financial solvency? So you need to set spending thresholds for each spending type. If I'm going to eat out, it's only going to be this much, and that's it. Once I get past that, I'm done. I'm not spending anymore. It's tough to do, but that's why when you write it down, and you post it somewhere. You got to look at that every day. You got to look at that every day. If you put up something, I will not be a failure, and you come in and look at it every day, oh, can't be a failure. Can't be a failure.
I know most people are scared to do it, but when times got tight, we had no choice, and I just said we're going to all cash. Other than online bills and stuff like that, we just went cash, straight envelope system, and it made us buckle down. And most people are swipe, swipe, swipe. I think it's 30% more you spend or something like that if you're just swiping. So that's one thing that'll help you to actually stick to what you say. If not, you're just going right back to your account, and you're never getting ahead. And that's what probably 99% of people do is, oh, I'm out. Budget that says this, but I'm just going to swipe and it's coming right back out.
That's why companies accept credit cards. Because again, it's when you don't have the physical money sitting right with you, you don't think about it. Oh, how much is that? That's $20? Oh, okay, I don't have to pay for it right now. So companies will pay everything you purchase on a credit card. We charge that merchant 3% transaction fee. So if you spend $100, we get Bank of America gets $3 from it. So why would a company do that? Because they know you're going to spend more versus the cash that you have.
I was going to say, Also, planning, if you're going to use an envelope system and you're using cash, planning ahead and going into the bank instead of going to ATMs, just based off of ATM fees. Those fees, it's sickening. It's absolutely sickening to go and get your money and have to pay $3, $4 now just to get your money out instead of just going inside the bank. So planning ahead on that, those fees add up as well. So.
And then the last thing I think is very important, and this is something that I've created multiple times, is put that budget on a spreadsheet or on some type of paper. So again, it's written, it's in stone, and you can refer to it every time as you go. That ultimately will help you get to that goal by always looking at it, always seeing it, always making it on the forefront of your mind, and always tying it back to those financial goals. So the next exercise, we're going to do it real quick because we're going to run it over a little bit. I'm going to have Dan and Elder, you're going to be on the same team. All right? And then you two are going to be the same team. And these are the top 10 reasons why. Don't put them up there yet. People don't hit their budget, huh? But not in the order that they're going to call it. This is Family Feud. I'm going to have you come up here, Dan. I'm going to have you come on up. 100 people were polled. Top 10 answers are on the board. Name a reason, and come over here. And you're going to hit the board when you have your answer. All right? Name the top reason why people don't achieve their budget. Budget busting.
Unexpected expenses. An unexpected expense. An emergency expense.
Yep.
Ding-ding-ding-ding-ding-ding.
Not enough money for emergencies. All right.
Kind of where I was going. So do I have to give another answer? Try to get some points on the board?
Yep.
Unrealistic budgeting goals. Look, not even on the list. Not even.
All right. So
What else?
you guys player pass. Player pass. Your team, player pass. You gonna play it? All right. Elder. Reason why people don't achieve their budget goal.
Impulse spending.
Stacia, what number?
No.
All right.
Oh, wait. Number 3? Is it 3?
Yeah, spending more money than you really need to. There we go.
Half point for that.
Buying things on sale, a new sale, or
Elder. Now you can talk about a steal.
No
You don't get
agreement.
restrictions, you can talk to her about a steal. Throw a steal in the.
Basically, no agreement between spouses, or you know what I'm saying, one spender, one saver. So no agreement on the budget. No.
I'm gonna give them credit for that. Almost like not creating the budget in the first place.
what's the question again?
What are the reasons why? What are budget busting? Top 10 budget busting reasons.
Buying gifts.
eating out.
Yeah.
Man. All right. Budget busting. I would say we already got gifts. Not enough not enough money in the first place. Okay. Spending. Okay. No, not making a budget. Not sticking to the budget you made.
That's
Or-
10.
Oh, okay.
Not
Never
creating a budget in
mind.
the first place.
Oh, okay.
For the steal. There she's ready. She's ready to steal it.
Using credit cards.
Excessive use of credit. Yeah, so they win the Family Feud. That's how Family Feud is. It's like somebody bidding one at Price is Right. All right, we're gonna click it. We're gonna go through the top 10. Number 1, completely living on 2 incomes. So you got 2 incomes. Can you use a portion of the second income to save? Number 2, not enough money in savings for emergencies. Brought that one up. Number 3, spending more money than you really need to. 4, not keeping track of extra money you do spend. 5, excessive use of credit. 6, lending money to people when you really can't afford it. 7, buying gifts when you can't afford it. 8, accumulating too many monthly bills. Cell phone, car. That's a big one right there. 9, not earning enough money. And then 10, not creating a budget in the first place. All right. So moving on. Additional assignment. So the first assignment was track all your spending over the next few weeks using the template provided. Prepare to discuss what you identified about your spending behavior. You kind of talked about that. Now it's really creating a personal budget. That's what we need you to do. Create that personal budget and provide a written commitment on what you intend to accomplish by following your budget. Any questions on that? Written commitment. I commit to whatever my goal was, the goal that I wrote down and the resources I needed to achieve those goals, it may have been a certain amount of money that you needed. So I commit to create a budget that will save me this portion of my income. So right now I'm spending this and I don't have this. At the end I want to have at least $200 a month extra to put aside to meet my financial goal. So whatever you do with your budget, what are you committing to in that budget? Are you creating a budget for just to create it? Or are you actually going to commit to it and put it on paper and say, this is what I'm committing to definitively so I can achieve these goals? And what I would like to see is your short-term goal. If you achieve that short-term goal, let us know. If you achieve that intermediate goal, let us know. All right? Long-term goal, that's going to take a little longer. We may not be around for that, but so there's short-term and an intermediate goal. When you achieve that, let us know. Does that make sense? All right. Next slide. Ways of sticking to your budget. The envelope system. Stacia, you want to spend some time talking about the envelope system?
Okay. Do you know what the envelope system is? Anybody? Do you know? Yeah, I know you guys know. Okay. Basically, you have envelopes. It's a cash system. So what happens is, for the month, for your paycheck, you put in, you have $1,000. Let's just say you have $1,000, and you divvied up your fuel, your grocery, your entertainment. What's another one? Food, grocery, entertainment. Utilities and allowances. Okay. So some mad money. So what you do is you get an envelope for each category, and you put the amount that you have budgeted in that envelope. So it's your physical cash in that envelope. It's just like something you can see. So it's basically what you budgeted in each envelope, and the envelope is each category. And what happens is, say you have $50 set aside for entertainment. Let's say $20 set aside for entertainment, and you go out and you're just out and about and you want to go to a movie. How much? I don't go to the movie, so how much are movies these days? Is it going to be more than $20 for two people?
2 people, yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess you can't go. You can't go to the. Okay, you go to a matinee. Right. You go to a matinee or you go to Redbox, and you say, okay, go to Redbox, and let's say Redbox, you have to have a credit card though, right? Okay.
Debit card or Netflix.
Cash.
No, okay, cash. Sorry.
So, okay, say you go to a matinee. You got $20 in there. You spend 10 of what's in your entertainment envelope. So next day, you're like, oh, I want to go to Fun and Stuff or something like that, and you want to go do something there. But you only have $10 left. You have to have the self-control to say, okay, in that envelope, I only have $10. I'm not going to go to another envelope to spend that for what I want. So you have to it's basically setting a discipline where this money is set aside for something specific, and once it's gone, I don't do it anymore. So my entertainment is $20, then $20 is a movie and getting a DVD at Family Video. That's $20, that's done. Or you don't have to spend the whole amount in that time period. You could save up. And what a lot of people do is you have an envelope system to save. If it's in the bank account, sometimes it just somehow just leaves the account. But if it's in an envelope, you're setting it aside, you can see it. Some people are visual. I'm very visual, so I need to see what's in there. And if you're setting aside cash every month, that keeps adding up, then you can go to a nice restaurant the next month, instead of spending it every time you get it in the envelope, you right back taking it out. So it's just a tool to use to help you in discipline, understanding where your money goes, and understanding where what amount goes to which category. So does that help?
Plus, you prioritize. If you run out of gas or you run out of food, like groceries, and you have entertainment money or you have your blow money, then obviously you still have to go to work. So you take out of that as opposed to going to the bank and you say, well, I can't go eat out or I can't go see this movie. I have to pay for gas in my car. You don't go back to your bank account. Yep.
And then it's a learning experience as far as if you do go to another envelope, next time you need to budget differently. So you need to change your budget so you have that amount the next time.
All right. Second option, open up another checking account or savings account. Some people get direct deposit. I was resistant to direct deposit for a long time. I like to have that paper check. And the reason why I like to have that paper check is because the longer I had it in my hands as a paper check, I couldn't spend it as quickly. And I save it a little bit longer. So I was resistant to go to auto deposit, direct deposit into my checking account. But what you can do is you can classify it so that it puts a certain amount of money here and a certain amount of money there. I have a relationship with a credit union. And a credit union is harder to get your money in terms of a regular bank, where there's a bank around the corner. You can go around the corner and get your money. But a credit union is not as accessible. So it's harder to get your money. Something that's harder to get your money, you're not going to spend it as quick. So that's why I bank with a credit union. But I have a couple different accounts so that I can allocate money over here that I won't touch. I won't even see it. It's almost like a hidden tax. It's almost like the benefits that come out of your check, like your health care benefits is coming out of your check. Taxes coming out of your check. That what you want to put aside in another account can come right out of your check. You won't even see it. And you'll learn to to manage on what the money is in the checking account that you use every day. And you'll see how much that will build. Even if it's like $50 a month, you see how much it builds over time. This is something I do right now, and that's tax yourself. Anytime you use cash and you get change back, take that change and put it in some type of bottle and just watch it stack. I can tell you every year is $200 in that jar. Every year, $200, and that's what I use when I go on vacation. That's spending money. I don't spend any of my money. I take that money that's in that I've already spent. That's just a change that I've accumulated over time, and use that to go for spending money. I'm going on a cruise in a couple weeks, and that jar is right there waiting to be used for spending money. I apply a different way of budgeting as well that does involve credit, but there's rewards that you get for using credit cards, and you have to be very disciplined to do this. But I'll put, instead of using cash, I'll put every purchase I make on a credit card so I know exactly what I'm spending, and I pay it off in full every month. Now, what happens is they'll give you cash back for it. But this is, if you got to be disciplined. I wouldn't recommend you do it, but it's dangerous, but you got to be disciplined to do it. But they'll give you cash back for certain purchases you make. I get 1% for everything, 2% for groceries, 3% for gas. So over a year's time, something that I'm spending anyway is going to pay me back cash, and I'm going to use that for my vacation purchases as well. But again, that's something where if you're not disciplined right now in terms of your habits with your money, don't do that, because then you can get yourself in real trouble. Pillar perks. Had to put a plug in for the pillar perks as a way of controlling kind of your finances. If you're spending for groceries and you allocate a certain amount of funds for groceries, say it's $400 a month. Pillar perks is an easy way to kind of incorporate that envelope system. Here it is. This is the money we have for groceries. This is the money we have for gas. This is the money we have for Chipotle. Huge kickback for Span with Chipotle. I buy Chipotle probably every week for that kickback, but it's a way of controlling it. So I know if I get a Chipotle $10 gift card, I'm only eating Chipotle once. And once that card's gone, sorry, not eating there anymore until I get another one. So it's an easy way of controlling the finances based on the budget that you set. With gas, groceries, some of those bills that reoccur every month. Next slide, please. As you can see, Chipotle, Best Buy, Walmart, keep going. Giant Eagle. Everybody shops there for the most part. Keep going. Difference between the Scripps gift card discount and the face value is donated to your Pillars contribution. So really, anything that you currently buy. Like with Pillars, we're not asking anybody to overspend. We're not asking anybody to break their budget. We're just asking you can you change your behavior? So if you're already spending something right now, can you use those funds to benefit Span as well? So if you know what, I'm going to spend this much in groceries, and the only place I go is Walmart. Why not take advantage of a Pillar Perk card? You spend $100 in Pillar Perks, you're going to give Span back some money so that we can continue to grow as a church, to continue to finance the air conditioning, the bathrooms, improving the environment in Span. All right. Next slide. So here's a quick example of if you're a family and you spend $600 a month in groceries on a year basis, how much would Span benefit? $288 by doing something that you're already doing. Not spending more money. $600 may be extreme, but if you have 3 or 4 kids, you're spending $600. Gasoline. $200. Gasoline's expensive. I got an SUV, so every time I fill it up, it's like $55. So $200 a month is pretty much what I would spend in gas. $60 you would get back. Span would get back for doing that. Dining out, the $200 average. Ooh, that's a lot. For dining. That should be on the board right there as a budget buster. But clothing, you can see just on average, if you were to spend that much, how much Span would get back. Entertainment to $50, 9% return, $54. Home improvement, $150, $36. So when you think about pillars, just think about, is there something that you're already spending right now that's going to be behavior, that's going to be a habit that the church can benefit from by you purchasing the gift cards? Not only would it benefit the church, but it benefits you to make sure that you're sticking to that budget amount. All right? Testimony? All right.
A quick testimony. My husband and I, we had a problem with our budget and just gas. It just seemed like we always spent with our debit card and just didn't have that enough for gas at the end of before the next check type of thing. And what we decided was we were going to commit to Pillar Perks our fuel budget. So every paycheck, we put our fuel budget into our Pillar Perks, and we buy Speedway cards. It's actually a, what do you call it? What do you call it?
Reload.
Reload, thank you.
Yeah.
A reload card, so we don't have to keep buying the same card. It's the same card, and we just reload it with the money that from our budget. So we've been doing that since December, and we've been able to give Span over $100 in that time frame just for pillars, just by doing that. So it's something that we wouldn't have done if we hadn't done Pillar Perks, probably. So it was a way to give back, and we've also had gas throughout the month. So we've helped that little stronghold that we had. So.
Yeah. And then the next slide just shows you some of the other available cards that are out there. Starbucks, Chipotle, Little Caesars, Giant Eagle, iTunes, Sheets, GameStop, Speedway, Walmart, and Panera Bread. Those are some of the cards that sell the most that we have. So with that concludes the presentation on budget. Again, think about how important your financial goals are for you. Are you willing to do what others aren't to achieve those goals, to be successful in it? And then are you committed to sticking to that budget? And the way to commit to it is writing those goals down, putting it on paper, and creating that commitment statement of, I commit to do this, whatever that goal is, and hold yourself accountable to it. All right? Any questions? Pretty clear? All right. And what I'll also throw out there is if there's any unique situations where you have some individual questions that you want to, reach out to me on, I'm certainly willing to assist in any way I can in terms of how you go about structuring a budget, or how do you plan on saving for the future, anything like that. Let me know. All right.